Be still, just be still for a moment. There is nothing to chase, nothing to struggle for. The moment you drop the illusion that you must earn your desires, the moment you stop the noise of effort, the universe begins to move on your behalf. You see, creation is finished. Every outcome you could possibly desire already exists, not in some far-off realm, but right here, in the unseen. It is your consciousness that selects which version of reality you will walk into. You don't create it, you reveal it by relaxing into it. When you stop trying, when you stop begging, pleading, or forcing, something miraculous happens. You begin to align, not with what is, but with what could be. And that alignment is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is soft, gentle, silent. It feels like peace, it feels like trust. And in that space, the universe moves mountains quietly. When you feel something to be real, even when the world shows the opposite, you become a magnet to it. The outer world has no choice but to yield to the inner conviction of your state. You may have thought action was power, but power lies in assumption. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to claim it, here, now, regardless of appearances. When you relax, you shift into the effortless knowing that it is done. What you rest in manifests. The house, the love, the healing, the opportunity. It is not waiting for you to work harder, it is waiting for you to relax. Not into laziness, but into certainty. The universe is not confused, it does not delay, it simply mirrors what you believe you have. So relax, it is yours already. Stop the struggle, drop the weight, assume the joy of already receiving it, and the universe will conspire to make it visible. So say it with quiet conviction, I already am what I want to be. And then relax. Everything is coming. It must. It already has. Creation is finished, all possibilities already exist. This truth, though often hidden beneath the surface of our daily lives, is the cornerstone of spiritual awakening and the key to effortless manifestation. You do not create anything new in the sense of bringing something from nothing. Rather, you awaken to that which has already been created, prepared, and laid out in infinite potential. Every version of your life, the wealthy you, the healed you, the loved you, the successful you, already exists within the timeless field of consciousness. Time as we know it is merely the unfolding of what has already been chosen in the unseen. The future is not created in front of us, but selected from a gallery of infinite outcomes. When we speak of creation being finished, we are speaking of a spiritual blueprint that is complete and perfect. There is no lack of options, no scarcity in opportunity. You are not waiting for God, the universe, or fate to deliver something that hasn't yet been made. Everything you could ever desire already is, and it exists in a dimension not limited by the physical eye. You are not the builder of the experience, you are the selector. Like a radio tuning to a frequency, you align with the state of being that matches your desire, and the external world must echo it. Think of life as a grand theater with countless plays running simultaneously. Every possibility is playing out, some with joy, others with pain, some with abundance, others with lack. But all of them exist now. You are not writing the script as you go. You are deciding which script you will step into. And how do you decide? Not with effort, but with feeling, with imagination, with the bold and quiet assumption that what you seek is already yours. Most people struggle because they believe they must force change. They try to alter the external, forgetting that the external is only a reflection. If you walk up to a mirror and frown, the mirror frowns back. But if you smile, the mirror has no choice but to smile too. In the same way, your outer world is compelled to mirror the inner state you dwell in. That is why you must stop trying so hard and simply assume the state of your fulfilled desire. When you understand that creation is finished, your anxiety falls away. There is nothing to worry about, nothing to chase. What you want is already here, not in the distance, but in vibration, in essence. And as you move into its feeling, confidently, naturally, with the calm knowing that it is done, the world will rearrange itself to reflect your choice. So the only real question is this: what are you accepting as true now? What reality are you inhabiting in your imagination? For what you dare to claim within, not what you hope for, but what you accept as real, will be revealed without. Creation is finished. All you must do is enter the scene. You are not the doer, you are the chooser of your reality. This statement is not meant to diminish your power, but to refine your understanding of how your power works. Most people have been conditioned to believe that results come only through force, action, and relentless striving. But spiritual truth whispers something different. That the external world is not moved by brute effort, but by inner selection. Do not make the seed grow by pulling at the roots. You choose the seed, you plant it, and you trust in its unfolding. You were never meant to carry the burden of orchestrating the how. Your role is not to manipulate circumstances, but to dwell in the end. To live mentally and emotionally in the reality you wish to experience. That is your work, that is your power. The doing is secondary and often automatic. The choosing is primary, for it sets everything else into motion. Imagine your mind as a great projector. Whatever image you feed it, through belief, emotion, and assumption, is cast outward onto the screen of the world. If you wish to see a different picture, you do not scrape at the screen or yell at the projection. You go back to the real. You change the inner picture, and the outer world must follow. That is choosing. You are not here to push against life. You are here to select what version of it you desire to live, and then surrender to the unseen hands that bring it forth. This does not mean you become passive, far from it, but your action becomes inspired, graceful, and aligned with your chosen state of being. When you live as the chooser, not the doer, your energy shifts. You stop asking, what should I do, and begin asking, what would the version of me who already has this be feeling, thinking, and knowing? Then you begin to dwell in that version of self, and all necessary action arises naturally from that place. To struggle is to forget who you are. To believe you must fix and fight and control every detail is to live in fear. But to choose quietly, deliberately, and consistently is to remember your divine authority. The world will move, circumstances will change, people will shift, but not because you forced them to, because you chose. And your choice became your state of being. Everything in your life is responding to your inner decisions, even if you are not yet conscious of making them. You decide whether to feel worthy. You decide whether to expect joy or disappointment. You decide what is possible for you, and the moment you change your assumption, your reality must bend to meet it. That is law. So release the weight of doing, relax into the wisdom of choosing. The power is not in struggle, but in selection. You are not the one who moves the pieces, you are the one who declares, "This is who I am," and reality responds accordingly. Relaxation aligns you with the frequency of your desire. Not effort, not strain, not worry, but calm, quiet confidence. This is the great secret so many overlook. They believe their desires will come through struggle, through constant mental noise and endless motion. But desire is not something you chase. It is something you receive. and you can only receive when you are still enough to allow it. Every desire carries a specific frequency, a feeling tone. Abundance feels different than lack. Love feels different than loneliness. Peace feels different than chaos. The only way to align with that frequency is to become it. You must embody the state that matches what you want. And that embodiment begins with relaxation. When you are tense, anxious, or doubtful, you are tuned to the frequency of not having. You are radiating resistance. But when you relax, truly relax, you signal trust, and trust opens the door. Relaxation is not laziness. It is not giving up. It is spiritual alignment. It is the recognition that what is truly yours cannot miss you. When you rest in the assurance that your desire already exists, that it is already done, you harmonize with it. You become a vibrational match to the life you seek. And that match is not formed through willpower. It is formed through inner stillness. Think of tuning into a radio station. If the signal is full of static, you cannot hear the music. The message is there, it's always been there, but you must adjust the dial to hear it clearly. The same is true of manifestation. The static of doubt, fear, and trying too hard blocks the clarity of what is already available. But when you relax, the signal becomes clear. Your state of being becomes the invitation. The truth is, when you desire something, it is because a version of you already possesses it in consciousness. You do not need to become worthy of it. You only need to remember that you already are. Relaxation helps you remember. In that quiet space, you can feel the reality of the end result. You can imagine it not as a hope, but as a fact. You don't beg the universe. You join the version of yourself where the desire is fulfilled. Trying implies separation. Relaxing affirms unity. When you relax, you say with your entire being, "It is done. I already have it. I am it." This is not just a mental affirmation, it is a shift in identity. And once that shift occurs, everything else begins to change. People appear, opportunities unfold, ideas drop in. But all of it stems from the inner frequency you are dwelling in. So let go of the need to force. Release the urge to control every step. Relax into the knowing that what you want wants you, and it will find you when you stop resisting it. Relaxation is your permission slip. It is the state of receivership. Align there and your desires will meet you without fail. What you feel as real becomes your world. This is the silent law operating beneath all appearances, the hidden cause behind every event and condition in your life. Feeling is the secret, for it is through feeling that the invisible becomes visible. You may say the right words, you may visualize endlessly, but if you do not feel the reality of your desire, you are merely playing with shadows. It is not what you say that shapes your life, it is what you feel to be true. Every moment you are impressing upon the subconscious mind the state in which you dwell. The subconscious is not moved by facts or appearances, it is moved by belief wrapped in emotion. When you persist in the feeling of being wealthy, loved, free, or secure, you communicate to the infinite that this is your reality. And reality must respond, not because you begged, not because you worked harder than others, but because you felt it to be real, and your feeling became the creative force. This is why worry is so destructive. When you worry, you are feeling lack as real. When you fear, you are feeling danger as real. And though you may say you want something better, your inner state says otherwise. The world does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you accept emotionally. What you inhabit in your imagination with conviction becomes the form your life takes. The outer world is only a mirror, and it reflects back the emotional atmosphere you carry within. Do not wait for change to feel different. Feel different now, and the change will come. You must reverse the process. Instead of reacting to life, you must originate life. You do this by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not in the distant future, but now. When you feel something is already yours, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around that truth. This is not about pretending, it is about knowing. True feeling is not forced. It is quiet, steady, and natural. To feel something as real is to move through your day with the calm certainty that it already belongs to you. You don't ask if it's coming. You give thanks that it is here. You don't seek signs, you become the sign. You carry the feeling within you so consistently that the world has no choice but to conform. There is no power outside of this. For every event in your life, whether welcomed or not, began first as a state you felt deeply. Most do it unconsciously. You are being invited to do it consciously. To choose your state, to dwell in it, and to persist until it hardens into fact. What you feel is real becomes your world. Not one day, not someday, but inevitably. So begin now, step into the feeling, rest in it, trust it, and know that life must rise to meet you there. Effort implies separation. Rest in the knowing it is done. This single truth, if truly understood, would dissolve the anxiety, striving, and constant seeking that plagues the human mind. When you are efforting, you are declaring, even without words, I do not have it yet, I must get it. And in that declaration, you remain apart from your desire. You are worshipping it as something far away, something not yet yours, and so it continues to remain outside your grasp. But rest, true inner stillness, comes from another knowing. The knowing that creation is finished, that everything you could ever want already exists in the unseen, waiting only for your alignment with it. There is no battle to win, no mountain to climb. You are not here to convince the universe to bless you. You are here to accept that you already are. When you rest in the knowing it is done, you step out of the vibration of lack and into the frequency of fulfillment. This rest is not physical idleness, but spiritual confidence. It is not passivity, but power. The kind that does not shout, does not demand, but simply knows. And because it knows, it allows. It allows the unseen to crystallize into form without resistance. Effort is the byproduct of disbelief. It says, if I try hard enough, maybe it will happen. But what you try to force, you push away. What you rest in, you attract. The one who truly believes no longer begs. They no longer chase. They no longer panic. They dwell in the end. They sit in the seat of the fulfilled self and allow the world to shape around that identity. Your assumption, not your action, is the birthplace of manifestation. The assumption that it is done, the inner claim that says this is who I am now, is the key. Once you have assumed the state, all necessary action will follow naturally. Not from striving, but from inspiration. Not from need, but from knowing. This is why the quiet mind is so powerful. It does not need to prove or fix or push. It simply observes, imagines, and trusts. The world outside is only the reflection of your inner conviction. If you believe it is done, life will echo that belief in every corner. Doors will open, people will appear, events will align, all as confirmation of what you already decided within. Let go of the need to figure it all out. Stop obsessing over the how and when. That is the language of doubt. The language of faith is silence, gratitude, and peace. It says, it is mine. I don't need to see it to believe it. I feel it, and that is enough. Best is not the absence of desire, it is the fullness of belief. It is the end of waiting and the beginning of being. Effort implies you are still trying. But when you know it is done, you can finally rest. And in that rest, the miracle unfolds. Your only task is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the entire process of manifestation, distilled into one sacred instruction. You are not required to force events into place. You are not responsible for the timing, the people, or the path. You are only responsible for one thing: to feel in this very moment that your desire is already yours. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the workshop of the infinite. It is the place where all creation begins. What you feel in imagination when sustained becomes fact. You do not need to see the physical evidence to believe. You must believe to see the physical evidence. The outer world is only a shadow cast by the light of your inner world. What you feel yourself to be, what you accept as already done, begins to solidify and take shape around you. This is why your assumption matters more than your actions. Many run themselves ragged trying to do everything right, yet they still live in doubt, fear, and disbelief. Their actions are hollow because they do not match the vibration of their desire. Action without assumption is labor without reward. But when you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, the actions you do take are infused with power, clarity, and direction. They are no longer coming from need, but from knowing. Feel it real. Sit quietly and imagine, not the process, but the end. Go straight to the result. How would it feel if you were already living it? If the money was in the bank, the relationship was blooming, the health was restored, how would you walk, speak, think, and breathe? That feeling, that is the key. That is the signature of the reality you are calling into form. And once you find that feeling, dwell in it, return to it, sleep in it, walk with it as your closest companion. This is not about repetition for repetition's sake. It is about inner transformation. You are not trying to manipulate life. You are embodying the version of yourself where the desire is already true. When you live from that place, even inwardly, the outer world must follow because it is only ever reflecting you. Do not be concerned with appearances. Do not let the silence of the outer world convince you nothing is happening. The seed does not sprout the moment it's planted, but the assumption is the planting. The feeling is the root, and in due season the harvest comes, not because you chased it, but because you became it. So release all other tasks. Let go of the striving, the doubting, the trying. Your only true responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The moment you do, you shift realities. You enter the world where your desire is not a hope, but a fact. And that world will unfold around you with precision and grace. All that you seek is already within you. The world is not moved by your effort, your worry, or your desperation. It is moved by your assumption, your inner knowing, and your willingness to feel your desire as already fulfilled. When you relax, you align. When you rest, in the end, you draw it nearer. Creation is already complete, and your only task is to choose the version of reality you wish to experience and live from it now. You are not the doer, you are the chooser. And the chooser leads by feeling. What you feel is real becomes real. The more you dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the more life conforms to that image. So let go, stop striving, and return to the truth. It is already done. Thank you. Thank you for listening, for opening your heart to truth, and for remembering who you truly are. May you walk in quiet confidence, rest in deep trust, and live in the fullness of your fulfilled desire.